Okay, let's just double check that the sound is coming through all good. The video's coming through all good, and then I'm going to begin the stream. All right. It would appear as though my video and audio are coming through all good. And we got a real interesting and I'll say it, special episode of the Premier League Rundown for this evening, as it's going to be the final Premier League Rundown before the beginning of the season starts. And for that, I'm unbelievably happy. I can't lie to you. Red Times, Liverpool 2-1 Bournemouth. Red Times is already ahead of it. I haven't even gotten into my predictions yet. And he's already put official prediction into the chat. I appreciate it, Red Times. We're going to get right into it, but I appreciate you joining us as always for the stream. Yes, a very exciting stream here tonight. A little impromptu. I knew I was going to do it before Friday, before the season officially kicked off, but I wasn't sure which day. I decided, you know what? Beautiful little Wednesday night. There was an entertaining UEFA Super Cup. Why not jump right into it? Why not get right into the predictions that we are waiting for? Yeah, I as you could probably see on the side of the screen there, I have some of the big games that I would say are going on this weekend. And I'm going to give my prediction for every single game chronologically throughout the Premier League weekend. However, I probably will touch on Manchester United and Arsenal, as that's the biggest game for the weekend. I'm probably going to touch on that a little early. I do want to give a quick shout out to Red Times, who has given all of his predictions already in the chat for the notable games that we have on the side here. So shout out to Red Times. Kicking the weekend off, we got a nice game. I say nice game because I am obviously a Liverpool fan, and I'm looking forward to watching my club play Bournemouth. Liverpool obviously are most people's favorites to win the Prem this season. We're coming off winning the Premier League obviously last year. However, we've also improved the squad as well. So that's another aspect of it. So, it's an interesting one. I think the Community Shield this past weekend was a little bit of a dud, and by a little bit of a dud, I was obviously very frustrated. I made my opinions known when I streamed after the game that I wasn't frustrated with the fact that we did not win the Community Shield. All right, the Community Shield for me, I could honestly and truthfully damn near care less about winning the Community Shield. In all actuality, I was more upset with the fact that Liverpool played like a bunch of unexperienced players. Obviously, we had some unexperienced players in the roster, but there were some that I would have expected more from. I'm not going to rehash all of that, but I did expect more from Liverpool, and obviously that was not the case. My official prediction for Liverpool versus Bournemouth, as my internet browser, of course, has to crap out, so I can't double check whether or not we're at home, but no worries. I think Liverpool are going to win 3-1 against Bournemouth. After watching us last weekend, I think to predict that we're not going to concede a goal after we conceded 2 to Crystal Palace is being inauthentic, if I'm being honest. I try to give you guys the real. I try to give you my honest and truthful opinions. And if I come up here and I say, guys, I think Liverpool are not going to concede a single goal, that would make me a liar. And that's not what I am. Not now, not ever. So yeah, I think Liverpool are probably going to win 3-1. I think it will be a game where we'll go 2-0 up, if I was to predict. And then after we go 2-0 up, I think Bournemouth will get one back early into the second half. And then somewhere around the 75th minute mark, I see Liverpool putting the game away pretty much by getting their third goal. Like I said, making it 3-1. Now, is that definite? Obviously not. I do think there's so much unpredictability when it comes to the Premier League, especially when it first starts. So we will have to wait and see. But yeah, I think Liverpool 3-1. I think that's a reasonable prediction, while not being too unreasonable. I said Crystal Palace were going to lose to us 4-1, and I got smashed on that. I'm not really too upset about the Community Shield result. It was more the performance of the entire thing. However, if Liverpool go out there and put in a similar performance as they did in the Community Shield, and let's say we hypothetically drop points, I'm going to be absolutely fuming. I'm going to start to ask questions of particular players in the roster, which I already have. I think Dominic Szoboszlai has not done enough since Liverpool have signed him. I've made that very apparent. But yeah, we'll just, we'll wait and see. We're officially less than 48 hours at this point away from the first game of the Premier League season, which is obviously Liverpool. So I'm excited for that. All in all, I'm very, very excited for the entire weekend. I'm glad that Liverpool are going to kick things off on Friday, because then I can sit back, relax, and look at all of our competition from an analytical perspective, see them, how they're playing, and be able to evaluate them from that perspective and not be biased or on the edge of my feet waiting for Liverpool to play. So, yeah, very excited for the entire weekend. 3-1 is my prediction for Liverpool. Moving on, we're going to jump forward a little bit. We're going to jump forward here to Sunday with Manchester United versus Arsenal. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this game is going to be played, let me double check, Old Trafford. Yes, that's what I thought. Look, the reality of the situation is I'm not excited to see United play this upcoming season. I am intrigued by them. I think United have made a lot of good signings thus far. There's a couple other potential signings that United could make, which I think could only bolster their squad more than it already has been. All in all, I think if you're a United fan, it's a time for you to be extremely not excited, but intrigued. Like I said, obviously going off of last season, I think there's only if United aren't going to do worse than 15th. I think that is the worst that we're probably ever going to see United finish in damn near our lifetime, if we're all being real. I struggle with this one. Because I feel very unknown when it comes to both United and Arsenal. I think I'm probably more confident in Arsenal's ability to get a result than United, for obvious reasons, if we're being real. Arsenal, over the past couple of seasons, have finished second in 3 consecutive seasons. Manchester United finished in 15th and also lost a Europa League final to Tottenham, which is embarrassing. Shout out to David in the chat. He just said, yo. Hello, David. How we doing tonight, man? Arjun said, nice shades. I appreciate it, Arjun. Thank you for joining us as well. I appreciate having you guys in the chat. Red Time says, our problem will be the coach this season and his obsession with playing Bruno as center mid. Bruno is a attacking midfielder and not a center midfielder. Yeah, I tend to agree, Red Times. I do think that that's an issue. I do wonder if there will be a shift in your formation in the upcoming season, because obviously you need to fit your roster around Bruno Fernandes in some capacity, because the reality of the situation is he's your best player. There's a couple other players I'm really, really interested to see you guys play. Kobe Mainoo has always been a player that's impressed me and intrigued me. And yeah, I would say if I was to predict Manchester United versus Arsenal, I'm going to predict a 2-2 draw at Old Trafford. Which, if you're a United fan, that's a really good result. If we're all being honest, if United hypothetically were to draw Arsenal at Old Trafford, I think that would be a good result for you guys. I don't think anything other than a win would be a good result for Arsenal. So we'll have to see. Arjan said, but Bruno can play alongside Ugarte and Mainoo. For me, when I look at that, like if you were to just put those three guys in the midfield for Manchester United, Arjan, I think the most logical thing is you're going to have Ugarte play a holding midfielder role. Mainoo play as your number 8, who's going to go a little bit more box to box, and then Bruno Fernandes as an attacking midfielder. I do think that Red Times is right in a lot of ways that we've seen for whatever his reasoning is. We've seen Ruben Amorim not want to proceed with Bruno as a out and outright number 10. I think it's more of a formation aspect of it. But we'll see. I'm really, really interested to see how United line up. Probably more interested than I am to see our Arsenal lineup. I think Arsenal's a little bit more predictable. No disrespect. It's just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. God AEM, shout out to my man in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight as well, brother. Said, who do you see getting relegated? For me, I see Leeds, Burnley, and West Ham. And then Arjan followed that up with West Ham is a brave shout. Definitely a brave shout. I don't think it's the most unreasonable thing. West Ham haven't been great over the past couple of seasons, and they finished kind of towards the bottom half of that of the table. Obviously, for me, God AM, if I was to pick the 3 teams that I think are going to get relegated, I will be absolutely shocked if Burnley do not get relegated. I think most people would agree with that. I see Sunderland getting relegated. I've seen a lot of people say that Sunderland, they don't feel as though Sunderland will stay up. A lot of people say they think Sunderland will stay up. I apologize. For me, I think given the reason I think Sunderland will go back down is I think Sunderland have been away from the Premier League for quite some time. Now, granted, their fans are going to be hype when they return to the Premier League. However, and I think that Sunderland at home at the Stadium of Light is going to be a real hard place to travel to. But I think Leeds are going to stay up. I think Elland Road is a place that similarly we saw Leeds in the Premier League a couple seasons ago. So the Leeds fans, for me, and the support around the club are used to them playing in the Premier League because they saw it just recently, a couple years back. Sunderland, it's been so many years that I think that they might go back down, and then it might be a situation where we see them come back up a season or 2 later, similar to, like I just said, how Leeds were. But then also, too, for me, I think Brentford are going to go down. I think Brentford, for me, losing your manager and then losing several of your best players. Thank you to whoever just liked the live. I appreciate it. And guys, definitely make sure you like the video as well. I really, really appreciate it. But yeah, I think I think Brentford lost their manager, lost some of their best players, and for me, that is why I think Brentford will go down. But so far, I did the Liverpool prediction. I predicted 3-1 for Liverpool and a 2-2 draw for Manchester United and Arsenal. We're going to backtrack a little bit here, guys. It's not going to be up on the... Well, what's the next game? Oh, we'll talk about City and Wolves next. Actually, let's bang out a couple. I have two games for Saturday up on the screen, but I'm going to bang out the 3 games that I don't have up on the screen. I think we have and Arjun said Premier League should add relegation battle games. those matches would be banger. I don't necessarily disagree with you there, brother. Brighton and Fulham for me, I think is going to be like a 1-1 draw. I love watching random Premier League games all the time, but I can't lie to you guys. I could not give less of a shit how Brighton and Fulham finish this weekend. I think that both those teams are going to just be the middle of the table this season. But I think 1-1. Sunderland at West Ham. I do think West Ham will win that game. However, it will be at the Stadium of Light. So, like I kind of said previously, I do think, there's a chance that game's going to be rocking. And then finally, I think Tottenham will beat Burnley at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We got a couple chats here before I move on to the next game. What do we got here? God AEM said Brentford have Jordan Henderson, Kelleher, Carvalho, and Sepp Vanderberg. Liverpool D team. Yeah, that's what I like. Or Brentford. Did I say Sunderland? Sorry. Brentford for me, it just the only one out of those four that really kind of impressed me a little bit is Kelleher. I think Kelleher's a really, really good goalkeeper. Jordan Henderson, it's going to be interesting to see him play in the Premier League again. It's been a couple of years, obviously. Sepp Vandenberg, never even played for Liverpool. Carvalho's a good young talent. I think he left the club just to get, some more playing time, which at the end of the day, I don't think you can really blame Carvalho too much in that regard. Red Times said, Arjun, Bruno should never play center mid with anybody, bro. He's a systematic player. He won't remain at CM and is drawn to get the ball, thus leaves the midfield open. He will get cooked if he plays center midfield. I don't think it's the worst if you're in a bind, but I think like I said, if Bruno's your best player, which I fully believe Bruno Fernandes is United's best player, I think it's probably United's best interest to play your best player in his best position, which is attacking midfield. I do think it's weird, though, if Mason Mount can remain healthy, you guys spent a lot of money on him, and at the end of the day, I don't think Mason Mount's as terrible of a player as everyone likes to make him out to be. I think he's just struggled with injuries since leaving Chelsea, so he'll be a guy to watch and an interesting player to see this upcoming season. God AEM said, Sunderland will beat West Ham. Newly promoted teams are dangerous at the start of the season. Remember when we played Leeds first game and they scored 3 goals against us? Yeah, I'm not completely stuck on the West Ham will win that game. Like we said, West Ham's a team that's going to be battling towards the bottom half of the table as it is in the first place, and then Sunderland, like I said, I think the Stadium Light, especially on the first game of the season, I think that place is going to be rocking. I think they're going to get behind their players. Even last season, when Liverpool played Ipswich, the first game of the season, it was a fairly dominant game from us, but it was a game that I just didn't feel really, really comfortable in. I didn't feel like we really had control of that game all too much. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting. Sunderland's a team that, really, really interests me this season. And I think that if you're a Sunderland fan, which I doubt there's probably a whole bunch of Sunderland fans in the chat right now. But if you're a Sunderland fan, it looks like things are kind of on, a little bit of the up and up, which is always good, because Sunderland for a while they were really, really struggling. The big game two of the big games on Saturday. One of the most interesting ones is City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I do expect Manchester City to win this game, to be honest with you guys. The difference in it, though, is I'm interested to see City because City have not played that great towards the tail end of the tail end of last season. That they were pretty good, but last season they were so on and off. It was a really, really it was a really, really, really weird time for Manchester City. Now, obviously, they've made some adjustments. They've brought in Ait Nori. They've also brought in Cherky. They've brought in some guys that I think could be dangerous for them. It's just going to be interesting to see Manchester City moving forward. With that being said, I do expect them to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-0. I think Wolves is going to be a team that's going to be battling it out towards the bottom half of the table. So yeah, I 110% believe that Manchester City will win that game, but how emphatically Man City win is what's really, really going to be interesting to me. Another big game on Saturday is obviously going to be kicking off Saturday is Aston Villa versus Newcastle. For me, Aston Villa, I and Newcastle are both two teams that I think really, really could be pressing for top six. If not, just outside there in like the 7th or 8th place finish. Newcastle obviously have had a really, really bad transfer window. It's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from the fact that every team or every player that they've approached so far this year has basically told them, hey, we would actually prefer to play anywhere else than at your club. That's obviously going to be, a little bit of a hit to the stomach for Newcastle, but we wait and see. God AEM said, keep your eyes on Jean Arias from Wolves. He's an upgrade on Cunha. Not just a replacement, he is better. God AEM, you'll have to let me know. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. I've never heard of this guy, this John Arias guy. Is he someone that Wolves have picked up this season? I'm interested to see. I'm interested. And then God AEM followed up by saying Newcastle without Isak, Villa without Martinez in goal. Interesting. I think it'll be really interesting to see how Newcastle line up without Alexander Isak. I think obviously as Liverpool fans, that situation is of a specific interest to us. But just in football in general, it's really, really interesting to see how Newcastle bounce back about that. I don't think that whole situation is completely over. And especially at this time, guys, with the Alexander Isak situation, is it like the relationship between Isak and Newcastle, in my opinion, is irreparable. It's not going. It's done. He's hurt his relationship with the club. The fans of the club are not excited about Alexander Isak at all. So we're at a situation here, guys, to where a player doesn't want to be at the club. The fans largely don't want you at the club, and we'll have to wait and see. Oh, huge ass. Hey, all new subscriber here. That's a fantastic little name there, huge ass. But I appreciate you for subscribing, brother. That's awesome. I appreciate you subscribing. I'm double check. Yeah, you did subscribe as well. So, thank you. I never know. Someone with a name like huge ass. You never know if they're just popping in just to make you say their name and then they bounce on out. But no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you joining along with us. Feel free to get going in the chat. We also have the speak pipe if any of you are interested to call into the show, and then of course we are going to play your voicemail out loud. So if there's any particular topics, any predictions, any points that you want to get across, and you want that written on, or you want that played live on air on the Premier League Rundown, please call in. And that goes for you too, huge ass. God AEM said, Wolves bought him once they sold Cunha. Jean Arias played in the Club World Cup, one of the Brazilian teams that was dominating until they lost to Chelsea. But he was dangerous against Chelsea. And then you said, haha, I'm assuming that that's in reference to me reading out Hugh's name, of course. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, the Manchester City Wolves game definitely intrigues me. So if I end up popping that game on Saturday, God AEM, I'm definitely going to have to, give John Arias a peek there and see how he's playing and stuff like that. I'm assuming he's probably a forward, maybe a winger or something like that. Got AAM. Yeah, I do think the Villa and Newcastle. I don't even know if I officially gave my prediction on the game. Yeah, I think it will be a score draw. I think it'll be 1-1. Both teams I'm very interested in terms of their placement this season. I think that both teams, like I said, will finish in the top 6, top 7. So I'm very, very intrigued on them. How they perform this year, and what moves they make, because Newcastle are a team that their best player wants to leave. And not only that, not only does he want to leave, he's like, I'm not going to play for you. I refuse to play for you. And that's always, I never really love when you see a player choose to sit out, similar to how Alexander Isak is choosing to sit out. It's never fun to see, because like if that happens to your own team, that's you always want to put yourself in the fans' shoes. But yeah, got AEM talking about John Arias, said attacking midfielder, but he has an amazing shot on him, basically Wolves version of Morgan Rogers. Very interesting. I think I saw Morgan Rogers actually could be going to Newcastle. I think I saw a rumor of that, which that would be a really, really good signing for Newcastle. The best way I could describe Newcastle, right, is Newcastle are a team that over the past couple of seasons have improved greatly. But they're unfortunately in a situation now to where they want to compete in the transfer market with the big boys, meaning the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, who have all effectively beat them out in potential transfers. João Pedro, Hugo Ekitike, Benjamin Sesko, and now even potentially Alexander Isak. And the problem, guys, is, Newcastle United, while they've improved greatly, they're still not one of the most attractive teams in England. They are very attractive to potential players, but the reality of the situation is Newcastle is not one of the 6 biggest teams in the Premier League. They're probably around 7th, 8th, something along those lines. So if you're a Benjamin Sesko, a Hugo Ekitike, a João Pedro, you can't blame these guys when the likes of Liverpool, United, Chelsea come knocking, and they start to think, well, I'd rather go play there because that's a really, really big club, and a club that almost has clubs that have almost stood the test of time, whereas Newcastle United haven't. It's only a decade ago that Newcastle got relegated, and Newcastle are seeing that. And the problem is they like to act like a lot of clubs don't understand the situation that they're going through, especially with Alexander Isak. I'm a Liverpool fan, man. I understand what it's like when your best players want to leave your club for a so-called bigger club. I watched Fernando Torres leave to go join Chelsea. I saw both Coutinho and Suarez decide, hey, actually, we want to go play at Barcelona because they're a bigger club. And even when Liverpool are playing at their best, when we're winning a Premier League title, our boyhood talent decides, hey, I actually want to go play for Real Madrid. And it sucks. But the reality of the situation is I don't respect the way that Newcastle have handled the situation. And I'm not saying that Alexander Isak has handled the situation perfectly either. I think in a lot of respects, you don't like when a player is sitting out. You don't like when a player says, hey, actually, I'm going to go train at Real Sociedad because I just don't want to play or train at Newcastle's facilities. That's shitty. But I also think Newcastle basically being like, well, you're on a contract, so you have to fulfill that, and we don't really care if you want to leave. And I've seen so many people use this argument that it's like, well, he's on a 3-year deal. He has to fulfill his 3-year deal. That's all fine and good, but that's not the reality of world football. We've seen players have so many more years left on their contract, and decide, actually I want to leave. Then the club that they play at ends up getting boatloads of money for them. And then they go on and enjoy the remainder of their career. I mean, while the Coutinho thing sucked, we got over £100 million for him. And people like to be like, oh, the Coutinho thing, Liverpool fans still talk about it. At the end of the day, that's a player who chose to go to a bigger club, or a team or a club that he deemed bigger than Liverpool. That is what it is. It sucks, and that's exactly what Newcastle are going through right now, where it's like, it sucks, but he wants to leave. How do you respond from this? You respond by going out and looking. You respond by going out and looking for other talent that you can then bring in, and replace him for cheaper, and then you sell them for higher, when they want to leave. We just saw Luis Diaz leave us to go to Bayern Munich. This is not a Newcastle thing. This is a football thing. God AEM said, did you get your YNW A sign from Tony at LC sign? I'll be honest with you, man, I'm not 110% positive. So the sign behind me, my You'll Never Walk Alone sign, actually was a gift my wife got me for my birthday one year. So I'm not entirely sure. She found it for me. And shout out to my wife. She's tremendous. So a lot of people might not know that, that I'm married because I have such a boyish look to me. I get told that quite often, that, I'll tell them my age, and they'll be like, wow, I didn't expect you to be that young. It's incredible. It really just comes down to having a good skincare routine. But no, God AEM, I wish I could tell you, buddy. I can see for the next stream. I know you're always on the stream, and I appreciate it. I can see if I remember to look for it. I'll definitely ask my wife and maybe get the information regarding the sign. But off the top of my head, brother, I actually don't know. Just because it was a birthday gift, which my next birthday's coming up a month from today. How about that? Born on September the 13th. Who would have thought? Friday the 13th. Bang, bang. I don't think anyone is even in the chat right now to even recognize this. So unless I think God AEM is actually. So I should shout out my boy. Yeah, 1-1 Villa Newcastle. Chelsea Palace. I think I saw Red Times talk about it. I think Chelsea are going to absolutely batter them. I think it's going to be 3-0. I think it's going to be 3-0. I think Chelsea, obviously coming off winning the Club World Cup, I think that was a fantastic feat from them. And yeah, I think Chelsea are going to be in 3-0. The last game, Forest versus Brentford. Oh, well, no, that's the second to last game. I think Forest is going to beat Brentford 2-0, and I think Everton is going to beat Leeds 2-1 with a Jack Grealish goal. How about that? Put that in your locker. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Who saw that coming? Me predicting a Jack Grealish goal? Probably won't even happen. I don't even know if he's going to play in the game, but I like it. 2-1. He'll get the game winner, too. Game winner. Is it at Goodison? Or do they even play at Goodison anymore? I don't even think they play at Goodison. No, they're at Elland, so it doesn't even matter. But I know that there was the whole thing with Everton potentially getting rid of Goodison Park. So there was that aspect of it, yeah. So, yeah. We will have to wait and see, But you guys will have to let me know what you guys think down below in the chat also. Please, if any of you are interested, please submit a SpeakPipe voicemail, and I'll play it live on stream, of course. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think. If any of you are still in the chat, please let me know what predictions you have for the upcoming season, and especially this upcoming match week. God AEM said Everton new stadium this year. Is it still going to be called Goodison Park? God AEM, is that's my whole question behind it. Player performance accountant said big up. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for being in the chat. Player performance accountant. That's a tremendous little name you got there, brother. I love that. I love that. Arsenal will win the title. No, they won't. But I appreciate that. I appreciate your suggestion there. You know, I do love that. I do love the energy. I don't think that they will win the title. I don't. No, no shot. I love the name Player Performance Accountant. You have to let me know what that. Nah, it's called Hill Dickinson Stadium. That can't be correct. Is that actually they went from Goodison Park to Hill Dickinson Stadium? That's outrageous. That's aggressive. Okay, so we got Caleb Smith in the chat. He said Man U versus Arsenal predictions and thoughts on and predictions for Man U. Before I get into this, I do just want to say, guys, and this goes out to Caleb and Player Performance Accountant as well. Chat. Thank you guys very much for watching. Sorry, I was just reading the chat as that was coming through. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe as well, and also I do have a thing down below in the description. It's called SpeakPipe. If you use that, you can submit a voicemail into the stream, and I'll play it live and answer any questions or any takes you guys have. But going back to what Caleb Smith had to say, my prediction for Man U versus Arsenal, I actually predicted 2-2 draw at Old Trafford, and I said that I think that will be a better result, obviously, for the likes of Manchester United than Arsenal, obviously. But, you know, my thoughts for Manchester United this season, to be honest with you, Caleb, is I think United will improve. I think United will probably finish around 7th. I've talked about it on previous streams before, where I said, what is the expectation for Manchester United going into this season? Because in the past, obviously, United fans have always had a high expectation due to United's history, and that's understandable. But for me, it's an interesting idea because it's like, what is good and what is bad from United coming off of finishing 15th in the league? For me, I think 8th place is the benchmark for United. Anything higher than 8th place, I think, would be an improvement and a good sign. Anything lower than 8th place would be bad. And I think if United were to finish 8th, you give Amarim a couple more months. I think that's my whole thoughts, Caleb. But I'd love to know what yours are. God AEM said Hill Dickinson Stadium, and that's not a joke. It's actually called that. LOL. Fantastic. You know, let's run up the hill and go to the Dick to see Everton play. That's what a lot of Scouse people in Merseyside are going to be saying. Player Performance Accountant said, yeah, I hold the players accountable for their performance. This year, I will be on Odegaard's neck if he doesn't perform. Yeah, that's an interesting one, man. I think Odegaard's a player that's widely underperformed, especially last season. It'll be interesting to see how Odegaard is this upcoming year. I think he's a guy that Arteta relies on a lot, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really tries to keep him in the lineup still moving forward. But we'll have to see. Okay, so Player Performance Accountant, I love this. I'm going to call that boy PPA. I love it. Players to watch this year: Omar Marmoush, Liverpool's fullbacks, João Pedro /Delap, and Bomo Cunha, Kudus, Gyökeres. If any of these players don't perform, their team won't do well. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So I'm going to break all of this down. Omar Marmoush. I think it's unfair to say that City won't perform if Marmoush doesn't play well. But I think that with the amount of money that City have invested into Marmoush, there's going to be a high expectation on him to play well, for sure. Liverpool's fullbacks. Why I find this interesting, and I actually would disagree with you, brother, is I'm assuming when you say Liverpool's fullbacks, you're including both Kirkaz and Frimpong. You also have to take into consideration that Liverpool have Andy Robertson and Connor Bradley as well. So if one of the fullbacks isn't performing, for me, I feel as though the other player should step up. And the likelihood that out of those 4 fullbacks, none of them are performing well, I think that's unlikely. So I think that Liverpool actually have good depth at fullback. And I think that's really going to help them this season. João Pedro /Delap, Totally agree with that. They need one of them to ball out. And to be honest with you, I think there's a high likelihood that you could see both of them ball out this season. And Bumo / Cunha, 100% agree with that. Again, PPA, you're on the money with that. Ruben Amorim has decided that he wants to go out and get Premier League proven talent. Kind of putting it on the line for that, and these guys have to prove him right if United is going to see some improvement. Kudus and Gyökeres. Kudus, it'll be interesting to see. Spurs have been linked with a couple people over the past couple of days. I know they got linked with Savinho. Who else didn't Spurs get linked with? Spurs got linked with someone else. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think Spurs are going to make a couple... Oh, Eze as well. So I think, hypothetically, right, if Spurs were to make a move for both Eze and Savinho, or one and the other, I think that that takes the load off Mohamed Kudus a little bit, because he's not going to be as much of like the big money signing, and he's the weight is not entirely on him. But your last one there saying Gyökeres, I completely agree with you. Gyökeres needs to perform well this season for Arsenal to be successful. And I'll be honest with you, I know you're an Arsenal supporter. If Gyökeres does perform well this season, I think there's a high likelihood of Arsenal challenging for the title. It's just a matter of if he does. Out of all those guys you listed, Gyökeres, for me, is the guy that I think his performances are going to dictate how good Arsenal does. Caleb Smith said, most fans are expecting around 5th, but anything above 15th is probably an improvement. Yeah, but you know what? I've said this before, Caleb. I think United last season, and it was the same thing for Tottenham, they both got to a point where it's like, if we finish 15th or we finish 10th, who cares? We're in the Europa League. That needs to be our main focus, because that's the only way we're going to play Champions League football this year. So I think that was a big part of it, that we saw United really focus on the fact that they were still in a European competition. And if they were in no competitions other than the Premier League at that point last season, I think they would have finished much higher. I think a big part that people are not thinking about when it comes to Manchester United, all you have to worry about is domestic football this season. All you have to worry about is the Premier League, FA Cup, and Carabao Cup. And let's be real here, I think most United fans would take a 5th place finish over an FA Cup and Europa League. If you get 5th place, that being that you would potentially get Champions League football. We will have to wait and see on that. But I do think United will improve, if I'm being honest with you, especially, and this goes back to what God AEM said right below there, if Man United get Baleba and Brighton, I see them getting top 6. If I see, I Baleba from Brighton, I think that could be a big one too. Also, there's been rumors with Donnarumma potentially going to United. Even if they got Donnarumma on a 1-year deal or something like that, that would be big for United. If they got Baleba and Donnarumma, United are finishing top 5. And people can call me crazy. If they hypothetically got Baleba and Donnarumma, Manchester United are finishing top 5. No questions asked. No questions asked. God AM said Eze, he's going back to when I was confused, making a damn fool out of myself up here. PPA said, what do you make of Villa and Newcastle? I am leaning towards Isak staying. I don't think so. I think, to be honest with you, man, I think Alexander Isak is pretty much like damn near screwed that entire relation. No, I don't want to say he screwed it. I just think that entire relationship at this point is way too far gone for it to be repaired. And I think I think he's basically threatening at this point that it's like I'll sit out and won't play if you don't sell me this summer. And hypothetically, right, if he was to just sit out, and then they were to hypothetically look to sell him in the winter, that's less money for Newcastle. Like, they're gonna get the most money out of Alexander Isak now. So I think it's gonna get to a point where Newcastle are gonna say, let's just cash in on him. and he'll go to Liverpool. And I think it will be, if I was to guess, I think that he will go to Liverpool for around 135 million. I think Liverpool will come in and say, hey, 135, and yeah, that'll be that. God AEM said, will Gyökeres even score more goals than Sesko or Ollie Watkins? If you compare him to Sesko, he scored a lot more goals in Liga NOS than Sesko did in Germany. So Ollie Watkins is a good player. Like I know God AM didn't actually mean it like in a negative connotation, but Ollie Watkins over if you were to take last season, just strikers, just number 9s. Okay, let's run through it. Ollie Watkins isn't better than Erling Haaland, but he's better than... Ollie Watkins is better than... what's the striker on Tottenham? Dominic Solanke. He was better than any striker that was on Liverpool. I would say Ollie Watkins was better than Darwin Núñez last season. I would say Ollie Watkins is better than any striker United had. He wasn't better than Isak. Not better than Mbeumo. If you played Mbeumo as a striker, which I know he can play. Obviously, he can play off the wing, too. I think Ollie Watkins is a top 5 Premier League striker. So it's if you say, is he going to score more than Ollie Watkins or Sesko? I think Sesko's the guy he's going to compete with. Ollie, while he's had a worse team, is in a league of his own. PPA said he can't sit out with the World Cup coming up. He can threaten that he's going to, though. And so that's the thing is, will he actually? Probably not. You're right, but he can threaten it, and also too, he can threaten it and then sit out some games, and then come back, play a couple, and then Newcastle come the winter might be like, all right, let's sell him for $75 million at this point. Caleb Smith said, I think Isak is going to end up going to Liverpool in the end anyway, just after all of Newcastle's transfers. I would say there's if Newcastle signed Vissa, they're gonna Newcastle have already showed their hand with him for me. They've already tried to sign Sesko. When Newcastle were trying to sign Ekitike and they still had Isak, you could make an argument that Newcastle were going to try to play both of them up top because Ekitike played with Marmoush up top at Frankfurt. So, you could make that argument. There was no way in hell Newcastle were going to try to play both Alexander Isak and Benjamin Sesko up top together. There's just no shot. There's no rational way anyone can say that was going to happen. So you do have to take that into consideration, and I think that that is that they showed their hand already in that way. PPA said, can Man U afford any more signings? They spent 200 already. United can. If there's one thing Manchester United have no issue doing, it's spending more money than they have, and then being like, our jersey sales next season are just going to take care of this. They make so much money through advertising, jersey sales. The reality is their global market is so big, and then it's really any money United makes that is counted as profit, and then they can just reinvest it into players. The thing is United are almost too big to fail in some capacity, that eventually they're going to get it wrong so much that it's they're just going to stumble on getting it correct. And I don't think that this season, if they get it correct, it will be stumbling upon it. I think Ruben Amorim's made some very good transfers, but we'll have to wait and see. God AM said, Watkins consistently scores 15-plus goals. That's why I asked the question, because Gyökeres would have to get 15-plus goals in his first season. It's an interesting one. It kind of is similar to what the expectation is for United. I think it's similar to when you look at a guy like Gyökeres. What's a good season for Victor Gyökeres? For me, I would say if Gyökeres scores more than 15 goals, I would say he's done really, really well. If he gets 12, I think that that's okay. If he doesn't hit double digits, I think Arsenal are going to be like, what the hell did we do? Caleb Smith said, at player performance accountant, yeah, you probably don't watch the United stand, but they have a theory that Bruno's going to go for around 100 million next summer in June. In which player performance accountant said, at Caleb Smith, yeah, I don't watch the top Reds. Usually watch Rasta stocks and rants. Are you talking about Rasta stocks that is sometimes in this chat? Because we get a guy that pops in a lot whose name is Rasta stocks. He's the man. I don't know if it's the same guy, but he's awesome. I know who Rants is from Rants and Bants, but I was just curious if it was Rasta Stocks, who's sometimes in our chat. Player performance accountant said, Gyökeres needs to score a goal a game. It would be embarrassing if Sesko outperforms him, which I suspect could happen. I don't know, man. I think, I think when it comes to Gyökeres, dude, like, I think it's either a flop or he gets like 22 goals this season. I think like. And I'm probably completely wrong, and he's probably going to end up getting like 15. And it's going to be like, I definitely agree. Yeah, we're definitely talking about the same guy, player performance accountant. Yeah, probably Rasta Stock streams late night. Funny guy. Yeah, that's definitely my boy Rasta Stocks, who I've talked to. Actually, kind of interesting. Rasta Stocks isn't like a huge, like you're not talking about like a huge YouTuber, right? You're talking about a guy that's like a little bit bigger than me, right? You probably did you just stumble across my stream because me and Rasta talk sometimes on stream and stuff like that. So it's probably the same guy. It's just I just want to double check. You never know. It could be like this. There could be like some huge streamer also named Rasta Stocks. And I always, but he does stream at like 1 a.m. instead. Yeah, 1K. Yeah, Rasta Stocks. So Rasta Stocks and I talk sometimes on stream. He joins my stream. I don't join his as much because I know he usually streams pretty late. Were you just scrolling on YouTube and found my live? Because you probably found my live because Rasta and I talk in the stream sometimes. But him and I have talked a little bit on Twitter and stuff. Him and I are going to try to get together and do a stream together. I'm very, very busy over the past couple of weeks. Or over the next couple of weeks is what I should say. So we just gotta find the time of it. But yeah, he's a really, really cool guy. I really like Rasta. Yeah, glad I'm here. Well, I'm glad you're here too, brother. I appreciate you for joining us. And this will go, obviously for player performance accountant, but anyone else in the chat, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe. Also, too, get in the chat if you haven't already. Feel free. We're welcome to anyone who wants to talk. Also, too, finally, the speak pipe down below in the description if any of you guys want to call into the stream and make your voice known. Give a point, give anything that you want me to talk about, please feel free to do so. I'm coming up on just around an hour right now on the stream. Weekday stream, weekday evening stream here in the States. So, I didn't expect it to pop off like it does on a weekend. But I will be streaming this weekend. I'll probably put out another YouTube video. Also, my socials are down below in the description, and then like my usernames for all of them are filtered above up top. You can probably see it's on the screen there. It filters through in case any of you want them or anything along those lines. But let me know what else you guys want to talk about. If there's any points, I think I gave my predictions for all of the games. Some of them I probably so some of them I already probably forget. God AM said that collab would be good. Do you both support different teams? You and Rasta? Yeah, Rasta's a United fan, if I'm not mistaken. We've only this is Rasta and I have only talked um, once or twice. He joined the stream and like we were just talking, and then he submitted a voicemail through SpeakPipe, and then we were like talking in the chat, and I like clicked on his link or something like that, and I saw that he didn't even like mention it or anything like that. He like I clicked on his link, and I'm like, oh, this guy makes football and content too. So then I threw his link in the chat, and I was like, everyone go follow Rasta, and then. Him and I have talked a little bit on Twitter. I would like to collab with him. He's a really, really nice guy. We follow each other on TikTok and stuff too. Player Performance Accountant says, you do watch-alongs. I do. So I've done 2 watch. This is actually an interesting one. Player Performance Accountant. I do watch-alongs. I did one. So I did one for the Club World Cup. That was my first stream that I've ever done, I think, on this setup that I have now. It was okay. It wasn't anything like super crazy or anything like that, and I didn't get a bunch of people or anything like that. But it was like one of my first streams on the setup and everything, so whatever. So then after that, I started streaming like how I am now, with my typical show background and stuff like that. And I got a couple people that were on and stuff like that, and then I've been doing this more often, and a ton of like tonight's a very, very light night, but sometimes, man, I'll get like 20 some odd people just watching the stream, which like for like Mark Goldbridge that would be like, a fraction of like his stream, but for someone like me, that was a lot. That's a lot of people. And then this past weekend, when Liverpool was in the Community Shield, I did a watch along. The stream was dead for 90 minutes plus penalties. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Nobody's joining this. So then, game ended, right? And it was like, this was on Sunday. I had like nothing going on. So game ended my stream, and then I like hung out for a little bit, did some shit around my house, and then I was like, you know what, like, I have more I want to say about this. So I'm going to fire my stream back up and see whatever happens, whoever joins. Fire my stream back up, and I literally just did this, and I got, like, 11 subscribers from, like, that stream. It was, like, an hour and 15-minute long stream. Now, mind you, I think I had, like, a top of, like 4... concurrent viewers at one point. Like I have 7 right now or something like that. That would have been like a lot on the day that I was doing the watch along. And I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I just did like the regular show. So long story short, I know I just ranted on for about 10 minutes. Player Performance Accountant is like, Jesus Christ, man. I just asked if you did watch alongs. I didn't need your entire life story. Apologies about that. I have a tendency to rant, but I do watch-alongs. But sometimes it's just me talking to myself, like someone who's a schizophrenic or something like that. So I try. I've tried to do them, but I think I'm probably gonna try to focus on this a little more, just because I haven't been that successful with the watch-alongs. God AEM said, will Mo Salah get crazy numbers this season since he's going to be playing with better players, so can't be double-teamed as often, so could get a shot off easier and gain more assists? I think he's going to get a shit ton of assists this season. Put it that way. Goals, I think Salah will get a good amount of goals, but compared to what we've always seen historically from Salah, I don't think we will see as many. Oh, so God AM said to follow up on it. Will this be a season where Salah drops off since we would rely on him less and we have Isak and Ekitike to score goals? One thing for sure, I'm pretty sure this is an AFCON year, if I'm not mistaken. If that's the case, then I think it's probably likely so we won't get as many goals from Salah. I think it will be a little bit of a drop-off this year. But I still think he's going to get a lot of goals and a ton of assists. That would be my prediction for him. I don't think... he's getting a little older, but I do think he's going to be really effective for the team. Player performance account said, LOL, no worries. Yeah, watch-alongs can be good, depends. Jez, the Arsenal fan, doesn't do them because he likes to focus on the games. I felt like that was a big part too, bro. Because like there were like, granted, it did get to a certain point in the game to where I was just like, all right, like I have 3 people watching right now, and like they would like filter it in and out. At certain points, it would be like 1 person or something. So it got to a point where I was like, all right, like, I don't really care as much. So I was like just watching the game, and I'd just be like watching the game, just like. And then realize, oh, I'm streaming right now, so I should probably talk and give some sort of analysis. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it again. I think that, like, you know what I think it is, bro. I think watch-alongs become more of a thing as you grow with doing content. Cause for me, like, I have 770 subscribers. It's like, yeah, I might get like a couple people that are interested, but like also too on top of that, like there's, if someone wants to watch a watch along, they're gonna watch like a Mark Goldberg stream. But player performance accountant says, yeah, you expect any big transfers to happen before the window other than Isak? Well, I think Liverpool are going to sign that Italian kid from Parma. I think that's number 1. Number 2, I think Mark Gahey could be headed his way to Liverpool. I think there's a chance that we sign that kid from Parma and then he gets loaned out because he's 18 still. But I think we're going to sign him. I think we're going to sign Mark Gahey, and then I think Isak. You said for me, I feel like Arsenal's window is done. Yeah, you guys like to do that, man. You get in, you make like several signings in like June, and then you're like, all right, this was tight, done making signings now. And I don't blame you. That's a good way of doing things. I'm not saying that in like a negative way. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, please. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video as well. Throw a speak pipe out there. Throw a voicemail if you guys want. I love it. And then, yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about. I've already given my predictions. They're probably all incorrect if we're all being entirely honest with each other. But, yeah. Yeah. I'm very excited, though. Less than 48 hours away from another Premier League season, guys. Who else is just, like, over the moon that's a thing right now? Oh, it makes me so happy. Makes me so unbelievably happy. I hope Liverpool win. If they don't, if we lose to Bournemouth in the first game of the season, I'll tell you this much. If we lose to Bournemouth the first game of the season, you guys are going to want to hop on this stream Friday at roughly 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America, because I'll tell you what, there's going to be a guy wearing funny-looking glasses, and he's going to be quite pissed. God AEM said, Arsenal need a left winger or you cannot win the league. Trossard is set to leave and Martinelli just isn't the guy. Madueke on the left is a risk. Yeah, but I think that they signed Madueke to play him off the left, though, man. Why else would you spend all that money on Madueke unless Arsenal really wanted to play him off of the left, man? That's my outlook on it. I know what you're saying by saying that he's a risk because he's always typically played off of the right. But, dude, I just think that it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense for Arsenal to go out and spend that money if they're not going to play him off of the left, because they're not going to play him off the right. We know who's playing off of the right. They're not going to play him down the middle because they just signed Gyökeres. So I think they're going to try to play Madueke off the left. And I'm sure, I know a lot of people have thought about that and, made comments about it and shit. And it's for me, I think that if Madueke is, if they sign Madueke and there's a chance that he's going to play off the left, I would think that Arsenal probably would have had a conversation with him prior to signing him to be like, hey, man, we want to play you as a left winger. And Caleb Smith says, Caleb Smith said, pretty off topic, But I heard you talking about your channel, and when I first came across your videos, I was surprised you had less than 1,000 subs, man. Well, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, I'm really, yeah, the whole content thing, man. It's tough. 1,000 subscribers is tough, but I've been doing it now. It's going to be 2 years that I've just been doing YouTube. In September, I'm less than a month away from 2 years. I'll be real with you. Ever since I started streaming, I started to get a lot more subscribers. I think I've gotten like 50 something subscribers. Let me see. Yeah, so if you look, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. I gained 54 subs in the past 28 days, and that's just from like streaming. Like I've like gone back on how much I am like putting videos out as much, which I'm still gonna try to do. What I'm trying to do, this is my plan. This is like I like this topic, Caleb. I like this because you get in the mind of like a maniac, essentially. My plan for this. Right now, I do TikTok. TikTok is going to be where I do all of my short form content. YouTube, I'm going to try to put out roughly one YouTube video a week where it's like the editing is a little better. Like, it's not just, for a while there, I was just putting out YouTube videos where it was just me talking, and the video wouldn't do as great. I think that people that watch like the actual videos itself, like they want to see editing and stuff like that. If you just want to hear me come on and rant about the footy, you just come on stream. I'm doing it 2-3 times, maybe sometimes even 4 times a week. So that's the whole, and I think the streaming, like I think that's kind of, dude, like me, because that's why I started doing it, dude. I just like talking about the Premier League and stuff, and me coming on stream, it's just the rawest like way I can talk about the Premier League. Like, it's just me just rambling on for like I've been live now for an hour and 10 minutes. And like tonight, so like I made a video, my last Trent video that I made hasn't done great. I gained like 1 sub from it. I think since I've been on stream tonight, I gained 2 subs, and that's like a light stream. Like I've on Sunday, I think I gained like 11 subscribers just in the second stream that I did. So yeah, man, I definitely I appreciate you saying that. I've heard people say that they're a little surprised that I have under 1,000 subs, but hopefully I get there soon. Once I do that, I can actually make money off of the content. I'll probably make dog shit money, but it'll be pretty cool to see for a little bit. But I appreciate it, Caleb. No need to apologize that it's off topic. I love those sorts of questions. God AEM said Liverpool beat Bournemouth 3-0 when we had Darwin Núñez, and Bournemouth had Kirkes, Huijsen, Zabernari, and Kepa. I expect Liverpool to score 4 goals minimum, or I will be angry. Yeah, I think that's a fair. I would say 3 goals. But 4 goals is fine. Yeah, their back 4 is just depleted. They just lost their entire defense. Player performance accountant said Matchweek was brought in as a rotation player. Hard to say. He is bad. Elite speed. Have to see if Arteta can improve his decision making. Yeah, I think he wasn't brought in to just solely to be a. I think he'll have to earn his position in the starting lineup, but yeah. I don't think he's solely a rotation player. Caleb Smith said, really pushing me away from this content creation thingy, man. What do you mean, like you want to create content, and what I was just saying about like the grind of it all was kind of pushing you away from it? Is that what you're saying, Caleb? Because if that's what you're saying, which it sounds like that's what you're saying, don't feel that way. You like, dude, the best advice I can give you, right? So I'll tell you a little story about the. We'll do a little story time with Limo before I end the stream tonight, and then make my wife dinner. So you gotta take the glasses off because it's a little serious on this one. So when I first started making content, I started making TikTok videos probably about, if I'm making YouTube videos for 2 years in September, I was probably making TikToks like 2.5, probably just north of 2.5, close to 3 years ago. So what happened was, this was before my wife and I even had gotten engaged. This was like a couple years ago. I was over my wife's house, and I saw a TikTok of this guy, and he talked about like content creation. He was just like basically talking about like the future of it and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, like, I'm gonna do this. So it's my bright idea that I was gonna start making content. So what I did was I started a TikTok because YouTube, to me, like, literally I didn't even know how to do it. So what I started doing was I used my phone to make my first TikTok videos. And literally nobody that follows me on any of my socials knows this. I actually didn't even make Premier League or football related content as my topic. I made MMA topics or content. That was the topic. I don't know why I keep mixing up my words. That was the topic. That it was MMA, like mixed martial arts, UFC, that sort of stuff. So the reason I did that was I was like, nobody is going to want to hear an American guy get on TikTok or on YouTube or anything like that and talk about the Premier League. Like, nobody likes to hear Americans talk about the sport. And I was like, that, like, after a while, and I was doing, and not only that, I was doing faceless content. So what I was doing was my microphone, God AM said he's got to go to bed. Nice stream. Appreciate you for being here, brother. Thank you for joining the stream, God AM. As always, it was nice hearing from you. What's up, Ash? Ashley Sabia just joined the stream. For you guys that don't know, that's my wife. So she's probably, if she just joined the stream, Ashley, I'm talking to this kid Caleb about content creation, because I was talking about how he's like, I'm surprised you don't have 1,000 subscribers, and I was like, yeah, I've gotten that before, and then I kind of started talking about it a little bit, and yeah, so that's where I am. So like I said, I was making faceless TikTok videos where I was talking about MMA, and out of all of it, I would say that is probably you said MMA content is nice. We got a good fight this weekend. I agree. And player performance account also said, Caleb Smith, there's so much bad content out there. There's a lot of shady content too, for sure. Yeah, anyone who's trying to like sell you shit and weird shit like that, don't do it. But what I was doing was I would take like clips of like MMA fights or MMA interviews, and then I would use a mic. So I have this mic that I got off Facebook Marketplace for like $60, and I would record myself talking, and I would play the clip through CapCut, and it would just be me talking over the clip and stuff like, oh, this fight, blah 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 blah. And it didn't really, it would like, I would get a couple TikToks that would do like some good views, but like not really. Then eventually I got to a point, so I probably had like a couple thousand followers on TikTok, no YouTube. I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm going to pivot to making Premier League related content. So I was like, I'm just going to take the TikTok that I have for MMA content, and I'm just going to shift to Premier League. And I did it, and the first day that I did it, it was a couple years ago. It was when Liverpool played Tottenham, and Curtis Jones got sent off because like his foot hit the ball and like went onto like I think Basuma's ankle or something like that. He got a red card. It was also the game that Luis Diaz, I think it was Luis Diaz, got sent off because like his foot hit the ball and like went onto like I think Basuma's ankle or something like that. He got a red card. It was also the game that Luis Diaz, I think it was Luis Diaz, got sent off because like his foot hit the ball and like went onto like I think Basuma's ankle or something like that. He got a red card. got a goal disallowed that should have counted. Anyway, I put a TikTok out from that, and it went parabolic. Like, I was getting like mad likes, tons of follows on this TikTok account, and I'm like, dude, this is sick. I am now going to make like Premier League content. I woke up the next day, TikTok packed my TikTok account. Gone. They said, you used a clip from a game. You can't do that. That's against our community guidelines or whatever. Packed my whole account. So at that point, I'd gone from like that MMA account that I had on TikTok, which I probably had like 2K followers on it. I went from that and I just went to 0. I had no account. So at that moment, I was like, what? I was like, this sucks. All of that work I put into it is gone. But at that point, that same day that happened, I was like, screw it. I made a new TikTok account. That is my TikTok account that I now have that has close to 5,500 followers. And that same day, I made my YouTube account today. And dude, it is like, it can get frustrating. Like you said, that you're like, I would feel you would have 1,000 subscribers by now. I sometimes feel like that too, where I'm like, I put out video. There were so many early videos, especially that I put out, that it was like no views on it or anything like that. Those were fine, but then once you're doing it for a year and a half and you put out a video and it gets no views and you're like, dude, this sucks. That definitely does blow. But the only advice I can give you, man, is if you want to do like content creation stuff, do it. Do what you want to do. Even like, I've been doing it for 2 years. I make zero money off of it. I have under 1,000 subscribers, under 10,000 on TikTok. If you want to do it, dude, do it. Go for it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to do. And if you're gonna do it, another moral of the story, like when I was saying, like I would do like faceless content, put your face on it, dude. Who cares? Just do it. And if you ever like need any advice on it, if you're like, Limo, I just started my YouTube channel today, the next time I'm live, like, do you have any advice? Just ask. I'll give you whatever advice I can, bro. I'll even shout your channel out. So if for the couple people that are watching my stream and stuff, I'll tell them to go follow you. That's the moral of the story. I don't know if you stuck around for the rant. You may have left, Caleb. I hope you didn't. But yeah, it's so much fun, dude. I don't want to, like, push you away from making content. It's so much fun. All right. If there are any last chats down below, I'll put my glasses back on. I had to get serious. That's what happens when I get serious. I gotta take the glasses off. If you guys have any more topics you want to bring up, let me know right now. Otherwise, I'm going to get off. And he said, I'm still here, gang. No worries. My dog. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. I just didn't know if you had to run for whatever reason. I appreciate you, brother. But if you guys have any other topics you want to talk about, otherwise I'm going to go make my wife dinner. And she's probably almost home soon, so she's probably going to be like, damn, I don't have a hot meal waiting for me. You've been screaming on that damn computer. No, I'm just kidding. She loves when I do this. Alright, we got no more let me double check that there weren't any speak pipes that I missed. I don't think we got any tonight. Yeah, that's alright. We'll get a couple next time, baby. Where's my meal, Limo? I know damn well you're in your car chuckling right now after that. Catch you next time. Yeah, man, have a good rest of your day. Thanks, Caleb. You too, brother. I'll see you on the next stream, man. I appreciate you for your support. I gotta go get in the kitchen before my wife gets home, and I don't want to say beats me, but beats me. That's a joke, by the way. She hasn't hit me. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you all. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. Drop me a speak pipe. I'll listen to it the next time I'm live. All right, bye.